Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I have been covering Warner Brothers Discovery pretty closely these last several months. This is a great day because we've seen an announcement for a new Harry Potter series going on to HBO Max, now retitled to be the Max service. This series is driving woke people absolutely berserk. Why? Because it features, of course, Harry Potter, and it's not going to be remade for more, quote, modern audiences, end quote. It's going to be a faithful adaptation of J.K. Rowling's books. In addition to this, the series is expected to adapt all 7 books over the course of 10 years. J.K. Rowling will be involved. She's not going to be writing. She's not going to be overseeing it as a day-to-day project, but she is an executive producer. She will be commenting on it, and she's going to be keeping her name in the media for at least the next 10 years. It may also be inspiration for her to do more with the characters that she hadn't done before, making the project and the properties an even bigger success. This is what David Zaslav said he was out to do. He said he was going to take their franchises, which they haven't been exploiting, and he was going to exploit them as much as possible in new formats and drive their businesses. This is what he said he was going to do. This is what he's doing. Of course, that doesn't make the woke mob any happier, and this is coming from Breitbart. Woke mob rages after J.K. Rowling boards HBO Max's Harry Potter series. Wokesters have already let their hate be known after reports confirmed HBO Max greenlit a new Harry Potter series based on the books by British author J.K. Rowling, who has been a stalwart in her defiance of transgender radicalism. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the new series from HBO Max will cast new leads and include far more detail from the 7 novels, which were often rather truncated in their various adaptations into Warner Brothers feature film. Rowling will be involved in the series as an executive producer. And the title of executive producer means less hands-on. It's not just for this TV series, for film, whatever it is. Executive producer is involved. They're involved less than a producer, less than a showrunner in television. So she's involved, but as an executive producer, it's oversight. That said, she will be happy with whatever it is that Warner Brothers is producing. If she's not happy with something they're doing, it's not going to get done. Not because she's an executive producer, but because she's J.K. Rowling and it's her franchise. She will not have total control over the show's writing room. When acknowledging her involvement, Casey Bloys, chairman and CEO of HBO and Max Content, said the company has no plans to get into or addressing Rowling's political views and will instead be focused on bringing Harry Potter to a new generation. Even just the reference of the whole transgender movement as something political gets them hysterical. So you see where Warner Brothers Discovery is coming from in comparison to, say, Disney. Disney would never do something like this. Disney would buy the rights to Harry Potter if they could, just to prevent Harry Potter from being turned into a TV series to try to exclude J.K. Rowling from her own property. Warner Brothers Discovery is not doing that. Quote, J.K. is an executive producer and her insights will be helpful. We are in the Harry Potter business. The TV show is new and exciting, but we've been in the Harry Potter business for 20 years. This isn't a new decision. We're comfortable being in the Harry Potter business. JK is a very online conversation, said Bloy. It's very nuanced and complicated and not something we're going to get into. Our priority is what's on screen. The Harry Potter story is incredibly affirmative and positive about love and acceptance, and that's our priority, what's on the screen, Bloys added. The refusal on the part of Bloys to acknowledge Rowling's opposition to transgender radicalism angered woke lefties who quickly characterized it as a capitulation on Twitter. There's no capitulation. They have a business arrangement. And this is great because Warner Brothers Discovery is not Disney. That's the thing that makes it great. One hit series can really impact a culture. And just having this series go out there, become successful, be well received, become talked about, it excludes the saturation attack on normal culture with these new woke ideologies. Quote, this faithful adaptation of Harry Potter announced with absolutely bullshit craven disdain for Rowling's political impact is bad, wrote Vulture critic Catherine Vanderdonk. If you interview an actor or filmmaker or executive involved with a Harry Potter TV show and don't leave with a question about J.K. Rowling leading a hate group, you're done, over, out of the art club, wrote reporter Sean T. Collins. Quote, we don't want any new Harry Potter content if noted transphobe J.K. Rowling is involved, tweeted Out magazine. And you have this Catherine Van Arendonk from Vulture saying to everyone, because of course she knows everything, so she may as well address everyone. And according to her, yes, and also there's no such thing as a faithful adaptation. Well, and also, what a boring goal. What a boring goal, right? Because the goal is not to further their woke cult religion. Here's another comment. 10 years of a Harry Potter series with Rowling as executive producer is just 10 years of press events dragging her anti-trans agenda back into the news cycle. And of course, she has no specific agenda, J.K. Rowling. She just has a difference of opinion with their political ideology. And people are allowed to have differences of opinion. We're not living in a totalitarian world. They would love for it to be, but we're not. And yet, there is a witch hunt against J.K. Rowling. As this guy, Alex Zalman, is trying to be funny about it, saying, oh yeah, there's really a witch hunt. She's got a 10-year commitment from Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, yeah, there is a witch hunt, but her property is that big and that successful. It's all about the intellectual property success and the people that want more Harry Potter content. They want the content. She's going to be successful. It doesn't matter if they call her names and they chase her around online. It doesn't make a difference. People are still going to watch the show. You, I'm sure, know by now that the Hogwarts Legacy video game sold 12 million copies in the first 2 weeks, generating $850 million in sales during this whole dispute and attack on her about her different views from the woke media mob. Rowling celebrated the news of having her books faithfully adapted for a new audience. Quote, Max's commitment to preserving the integrity of my books is important to me, and I'm looking forward to being part of this new adaptation, which will allow for a degree of depth and detail only afforded by a long-form television series, she said. As John Nolte of Breitbart News previously profiled, HBO Max tapping Rowling for a second go-around was just one more indication of woke cancel culture's loosening grip on entertainment. It makes it okay for stockholders, for investors, to stand up to them and say, no, you don't have to reinvent stories, content, characters, brands, franchises like they're trying to do with Bud Light. And it's obviously not working. Taking franchises and brands and trying to either completely destroy them or modify them to fit into their anti-human agenda. It doesn't have to happen, and it's not going to happen. How is someone going to want to sit down and watch content from Disney Plus in comparison to HBO's Max streaming service if the content on the streaming service for Max is actually just good content, not trying to push an agenda? I don't see how these other companies are going to be able to compete ultimately, and I think that's why you're seeing less and less success for companies like Disney and their franchises. Why is there any dispute over putting out Marvel movies or Marvel character sequels or Star Wars movies? These things should be easy, big money makers. But you've got Disney, who owns Luke Skywalker, not even interested in doing a new Luke Skywalker series. Not even to make him a trans Luke Skywalker. They don't even want to do that. They just want to end everything from the past and remake everything in their new agenda. Quote, to her eternal credit, Rowling has refused to back down, Nolte wrote. Had she taken even a tiny step back, the bullies would have buried her. She stood her ground admirably and forced people to choose between her science and decency or the other side's fascistic lunacy. Now the tide has turned in her favor because she's an artist. She's producing content. This is her creative expression. It's a huge success. It draws tremendous audiences. People want to see it. Anheuser-Busch is losing more than $6 billion in market value for trying to radically remake their brand with Dylan Mulvaney. They may get the stock value back. They may not. If I were someone who was invested in Bud stock, and I'm not, I wouldn't want to be invested in them because this was a very sudden change they decided to make. They don't just own Bud Light. They own many, many brands. They could do this to any and all of their brands the way that Disney had. And yes, there's been an explanation that came out, and I kind of sensed this was probably the case. This can is not being sold with Dylan Mulvaney. This is just a promotional, like, custom can. You do that for promotional events. Even Marvel did it with comics. They could produce custom comics utilizing their superhero characters to push specific agendas, a promotional item or something like that. For something like a Bud Light, it's very easy for them to make one can. Something like this might cost them $5,000 or $10,000 to make, maybe even less. So doing that and trying to reach out to their, trans community, that's fine, except of course, employing Dylan Mulvaney as some kind of brand ambassador really forced people to associate them with the Bud Light brand, and people are no longer interested in being associated with that. It's not what Bud Light is supposed to be about, and it's supposed to just be about fun. Like Coke was supposed to be about making people happy. Who knows what Coke is going to do next? I would be very cautious with woke companies and them changing their brands because they'll destroy the value of their brands, and apparently they don't really care. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Do you think this is going to be a successful series? Do you think that J.K. Rowling is going to back down? Do you think that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to back down? Doesn't this make you feel better about the DCU coming from Warner Brothers Discovery in comparison to Marvel's titles. This is a company that doesn't care about pleasing a mob. They're just looking at the brands and they're saying, okay, well, this is what people want, so I guess we'll just make stuff based on this, and they're running it like a normal business. It's very satisfying to me to see that there's a major company out there doing it. We should still support independent creators, especially the Comicsgate guys who are trying to make their own product. I have comics coming soon that I've been working on, but to see a big company that has such a huge distribution channel putting out just good content that's faithful to the franchises, that's very important. And it gives Universal permission to do that, Paramount permission to do that. It makes Disney look stupid for focusing on agenda instead of quality. So let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Are you interested also in seeing this series? And does this give you more confidence in the DCU the way it does me? Really appreciate your comments. Always love to see them. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.